the pathogen doesn't necessarily even have to come into contact with it. If it gets in within a vicinity of it, within the waterways of the human body, it will destroy the pathogen.
Hey, Inspired Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers. John Nolan here. Thank you so much for tuning in today for the health tip of the week. As you know, nothing is more important than staying healthy and making sure that you are at the top of your game. And for that, I want to welcome a dear friend of ours, the founder of Chemical Free Body, Mr. Tim James. Thanks so much for joining us again today.
John, my pleasure for being here, brother. And I want to thank the listeners for tuning in. And we're going to give you some really good stuff that can boost your immune system. And some stuff you can do at home for very inexpensive. We're going to be talking about garlic versus silver, two very powerful therapeutic remedies you can do for oral consumption and for topical use for infections. Our stories are going to hopefully blow your mind, but more importantly, get you to remember how powerful these things are and how you can do things on the cheap at home to heal yourself.
Which, you are that's your 24/7. That's your mission, to help people become the healthiest, best possible version of themselves. And when we talked last week on the phone, you shared a really, really incredible story. I said, "Dude, I got to tell you something," and then you said, "Ah, yeah, I got to tell you something too." And you had an episode with your father with his toenail and a doctor. And can you share a little bit about what happened?
Well, let me just explain how this whole thing got started. And it blew my mind when I found out about garlic. Okay, so I was at the Hippocrates Wellness Center back in 2011, and they were explaining the benefits of garlic as an antimicrobial. They actually, when they smashed the garlic and viewed it on camera, and there was a plate, basically this plate or this glass thing with all kinds of bacterium and stuff on it. As the garlic not even touched the bacterium, as the gases hit the garlic on the microscopic level, it was like 100% kill zone. It
That's
destroyed
incredible.
everything in its path. Garlic is it's very fairly caustic. It's like a 5.8 on the pH scale. So it's acidic
I,
and it
I think it's
destroys
also very
pathogens.
tasty. I like the
It is
taste of
very tasty, and I'm gonna get to that. This is exciting, right? So, one of the stories that people might remember is, Paul McCartney was dating this supermodel named Heather Mills. She got in an accident, her leg got whacked off, and it got infected, okay? And she was in a hospital, I think, over in Europe somewhere. Then the leg got infected again in the hospital. They're giving her antibiotics, giving her antibiotics. They had to cut off more of her leg. Then her leg got infected again. They gave her more antibiotics, different kinds of antibiotics. Then they had to cut off more of her leg again. Then they gave her more antibiotics and her leg got infected again. And her friend said, if you don't do something about this, you're going to die. She's like, what should I do? She went to the same institute and learned what I learned about garlic. And they showed her how to take and make a poultice by pressing garlic in a garlic press and taking 1 part garlic and 2/3 or 1/3 garlic, 2/3 like some type of a carrier oil, like olive oil. The carrier just means it's going to carry the garlic. And then you got to let the garlic, you stir it in there and you let it sit and stand for about 30 minutes. Because again, it's 5.8 on the acid, right? It's kind of, it'll burn you. Garlic will burn you. So you let it kind of marinate in that oil. Then they showed her how to use that oil and bandage her stump. And in 2 weeks, she was walking around the institute on her prosthetic, no infection. And what did
that
that
is
cost?
incredible.
And she did it herself. So I'm just like, when I learn stuff like this, I'm like, oh my God, that's like super cheap. But you have to, and it freaking works. And it works better than antibiotics because the cool thing about garlic, John, is that for a topical use, and by the way, you have to make sure you use 100% organic garlic, not garlic that's been sprayed with chemicals, and you want 100% cold pressed oil. But in an emergency situation, if you got crappy garlic and crappy oil, do it, right? Because it's an emergency situation. But what's the cool thing about garlic is it will destroy all the gram-negative bacterium on your skin, but it will not destroy the gram-positive, the probiotic type of bacterium that are on the skin that are going to stitch you back together and heal you up. Very important point. So I took that lesson. Now, remind you, I had ingrown toenails when I was 16. I had one. And what they do is they actually numb your foot and they take 1/3 of the nail and they cut it at an angle down towards the bottom. And then they took silver nitrate on a stick. They basically rip it out and then they just burn the cuticle so it won't grow back up that way again.
It sounds like a torture method, dude.
Well, that wasn't bad, but if they don't know how to put the needle in, because my doctor put the needle right down the end of my toe, which is what they did in Vietnam with bamboo, strands of bamboo actually as a torture deal. So the shot itself, if a doctor knows what they're doing, they will kind of do a little topical and numb you on top, and then they will put it in above, in your toe up above, and then it'll just numb everything on the way down. Then you do it. You don't feel it until afterwards, and your foot's going thump, 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 you know. And then they put me on some pain relievers to destroy my immune system, like hydrocodone when I'm 16. It's silly. Okay, so I had this infected toe. I get the surgery, blah blah blah. I get it done. I miss a baseball game. I'm pissed, and because my friends are playing, and I should have been playing. And then that was fine. Move forward. Now I'm a dad, and my son's about 15, 16. He's got an ingrown toenail because he was clipping his toes wrong. Because the way our toes grow, you got to cut them straight across. And I was like, well, wait a minute. Like, let's do garlic oil. So we put garlic oil on his toe, and in about 2.5 days, there was no infection. Now the nail was still down in there, but I was after that I was able to get, because it wasn't hot and tender. You couldn't even touch it. You couldn't even touch it.
Mhm.
He's like, ow, ow. After 2.5 days, you could totally touch it. I got in there with some tweezers and stuff, and I packed some cotton underneath the nail, and we just monitored it, and we kept the cotton in there and let the nail grow out, and then I just had him cut it right. He never had to have that surgery. Now, fast forward, my dad's got an ingrown toenail a couple weeks ago.
Man, it's like a family thing, huh?
Yeah, it's on Friday. It's Friday night, and he's like, "My toe hurts." He waits till the very end. I'm like, "Well, we can go to urgent care or the hospital. That's gonna be a bazillion dollars. Let's just do garlic oil." And so we do garlic oil, and by Sunday morning, and we did foot soaks and Epsom salt soaks 2 or 3 times a day too, because he wasn't doing that. He couldn't walk on it really. But I was changing the garlic at least 2, 3 times a day. And by Sunday morning, there was no infection, right? So we were able to get through the weekend, made an appointment on Monday, went in early Monday morning. The doctor did the surgery, and he's like, "Well, there's literally no infection here, which is odd, but if it gets infected, just call me. I can prescribe some antibiotics, but you don't need it." And I was like, "Okay, great. Yeah, we got it." And I just went home, and I started transitioning off the garlic and just started using, silver. And actually I was doing silver a little bit too, because I would put silver on it, let it dry, get it some air, and then I'd put the garlic compress on afterwards. So I started off with garlic, and then I did a blend over the weekend, and then I kind of switched over to silver because it's just easier. Okay. It was just easier.
It
And
is.
then because you got to press the garlic and make the thing, but whatever. And it smells a little bit. But what was cool was the leftover garlic oil I made a salad with.
I was that's dude, I was just gonna say, here's the beautiful thing. So if you do have, I hope you don't, but if you do have some sort of infection, you make that garlic oil, you marinate your meat with it, and then you you take the rest and you just put it on that infection, and it should subside. I mean, that's incredible. Let me ask you this: did the doctor ask you what you did about that infection, or did that come up?
No, I just told him. I go, "It was totally infected," and plus he goes, "Well, it's not infected now, and what'd you do?" And I was like, "Well, we just used garlic oil." And he's like, "Garlic oil," and I explained everything to him. I said, "It's very caustic. You mix it, you let it stand, you put it on there, blah blah blah." And it just I explained this. I told him the whole story, so he knew. He says, "Well, we can't do that here in the office because there's no double blind studies on it. We can't really measure it so we can get the exact amount to make sure it happens." So, and then in my mind, so I'm like, "Oh, so it's just better to just blast somebody with antibiotics and destroy their immune system." And for women, there was a study in 2016 that shows that just one round of antibiotics can lead to anxiety and depression. One round, not on top of on top of your immune system being completely bombarded and destroyed, right? So it's like they're in that world, and that's fine. That's channel 2. I'm on channel 4. I'm on a different frequency. I see things differently. I will
Well,
go to
that's how
channel
they get
2 if I
paid,
need
Tim.
to. What's that?
That's how they get paid. I mean, that's their bread
Yeah.
and butter too.
Yeah, yeah, and so it is what it is. So I was just excited. I've used it multiple times in my life on myself and my family. It works, and I will say this: when you make it, it's good in the fridge for about up to 3 days. You should cover it and keep it in the refrigerator. But I like fresh stuff, so I was making a new batch every other day, right? I was making the fresh batch every other
That's
day, and then
fantastic.
using the leftovers for salad dressing mixture.
Here's the thing, folks. What I would like you to do is write this down, save this. You have a remedy that, I mean, basically, you almost everybody has a little bit of garlic, fresh garlic at home, some oil. You can make this happen. I would encourage you to do so. And Tim, I told you we had a great story of our own. So we were down in Florida, and our our German Shepherd girl, 2 years old, she's just been scratching and scratching, and we saw that she had a rash, and it's been going on and we tried everything that we knew of, and nothing really seemed to work, and she was just uncomfortable all night. Poor girl. And I took a photo and I sent it to our wonderful vet, smart vet. She's a different kind of vet, not the typical.
Yeah.
And um and so she texts me back, well, it should be, it looks like a secondary staph infection. um do you have any silver on you, colloidal silver? And I said, we don't have
Was this
colloidal
a
silver.
homeopathic vet?
Yeah, 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 she
Oh, that's
is.
very smart. This is a huge takeaway for everybody listening. If you have
Yeah.
a vet, get a homeopathic vet. Somebody that's been doing it for 20, 30 years.
Oh, yeah,
That's
she's
where
an
you wanna get.
osteopathic, homeopathic vet. But
Great.
so I said, I don't have any colloidal silver on me, but I do have Tim's stuff here, the nano silver, the triple action solution. And I said, that should do it. I mean, I'm taking it every day. So we gave it to her orally multiple times a day, and we topically applied the silver on the areas with a rash. Tim, I'm not kidding you. Within a day, it got like 80% better. Within 2 days, the entire thing was gone. And she had that for like a couple weeks, and just very uncomfortable, and we couldn't really figure things out. Within 2 days, the whole thing was over, which is incredible because I had taken the silver when I had my episode with the poison ivy, and it really really helped. It didn't help that fast, but poison ivy is very. It takes a while. I just wanted to say that, and I texted you and I called you and I said, listen, this is incredible. You should tell people that this stuff also works topically so well. What is it? What is it in the silver that makes that happen? Why is it? Why did that work so well?
Okay, so now switching gears to silver. All right, so our formulator, Dr. Treadway, who made all of our herbal products, he was big into colloidal silver. Okay, in fact, he had his own machine making it, and he kept pushing me. You got to get your own machine. It's better that you can make your own stuff better and control it better than what you're buying at the stores with the Sovereign Silver, the Argentine 23s, these types of things. These are, and those are older technologies I've learned. I was just about to get my machine and start making my own stuff, and then I ran into Dr. Keith and his dad's discovery. They accidentally they made it was an accident. They were trying to do something else with silver, and they developed this triple action nano silver solution, this product. And it's quite amazing because the biggest thing is, like with these other colloidal silvers and stuff like that, you have to look at them. They're unbalanced. They're unstable. They're looking for an electron. So they come into a pathogen, whether it's a virus or a bacterium or a mold or a yeast or whatever, and they will rip one electron away from it, balance themselves, take it into their core, and they move on. They're now stable. Okay. That's fine. That's great. It does some damage to the pathogen, but it's over. This triple action nano silver will come in, rip an electron off, take it into its core, and it wants another one and another one and another one. So we're talking the difference between a single shot 22 and an automatic, just
Yeah.
nonstop, continuous action. The other thing that's really cool about it is that as far as the action goes, is it has a resonant frequency. This your homeopathic doctor would appreciate this. The frequency of this thing that it emits, the pathogen doesn't necessarily even have to come into contact with it. If it gets in within a vicinity of it, within the waterways of the human body, it will destroy the pathogen. And the third thing is it emits an electrostatic charge, which will also destroy pathogens. So we actually have a triple action nano silver. Now that sounds really cool, but for me as a health coach and trying to help people, the most and biggest amazing thing about this silver is that you can actually swallow it without disrupting your gram positive bacterium. So the colloidal silvers and stuff that we liked and we used, we would only have we would tell our clients, or don't swallow it because we're going to wipe out the immune system, kind of like antibiotics, right? Because silver was the original antibiotic. I mean, in Western days, they throw silver coins in water, keep the water good. It's been around, it's been known for thousands of years. Okay. But so we would have people squirt it up the nose. We'd have them buy the spritzer bottles, and put 2 shots. In fact, this was our old airplane protocol, was 2 shots up each nostril every hour on the hour. We'd have them drink some essential oils and take some oxygen drops in their water to keep themselves protected when they're on the airplanes. But with this silver, dude, you don't have to do that. You can literally swallow it. And
I just did. I
it
just
doesn't
did.
it doesn't build up in the body. You're not going to turn blue. Let me repeat, you will not turn blue. It has continuous action for 24 hours, then it exits the body. And let me just tell you about the study that was done. So when you're doing a double blind study, clinical stuff with the FDA, which Dr. Keith did, you have to go find something that's already been proven. So they took a proven colloidal silver at 10,000 parts per million versus our 32 part per million triple action nano silver versus MRSA. Okay, a very stubborn bacterium. Okay, most people have heard of MRSA, and results. It took about 4.5 hours, and the 10,000 part per million colloidal silver destroyed the MRSA. Okay, the first testing was at 30 minutes. And with a 32 part per million, completely done. Killed the MRSA in 30 minutes. And I was like, well, now my curious mind's like, well, you tested at 30. When did it actually kill it all off? He said it was actually completely dead in 10 minutes. But the first
That's
test in the
incredible.
clinical trial was 30. They said it at 30 because they didn't think there was any way it was going to possibly do that. So I can't remember the numbers, but I think it's like 300 times more powerful at 32 parts per million than 10,000 part per
10,000
million
parts per
colloidal,
million.
which can build up in the system, does not have continuous action. You see, so it for me as a health coach, when I found out about this stuff, I'm like, you can swallow this stuff. This is unbelievable. So we had we have so many ways people are using it. You can use it. You can drink it. I take a couple teaspoons morning and night just for maintenance. And I had my test results come back from fecal tests and gut microbiome testing. And the functional practitioner is like, I've never seen anything like this. These E. coli, salmonella, this stuff, it's not even registering on
That's
your deal.
incredible.
Doesn't even register. I don't have it, right? So it's like, okay. So my gut's pretty bulletproof from this stuff on the daily. But if you're sick, I've seen people drink more of it, especially when they're down and out and they just need more. Or if they're going on a trip, they'll take a jug with them and they'll be chugging it. You can also mix it with distilled water. 50/50s. People are doing eye washes and stuff like that for eye infections. People are cutting their plants and putting a little bit in the water. Your plants will last way longer. We put it in our chickens' water. I put it in my dog's water, the cat's water, the ducks. I put it in all my animals, have it just a little bit in their water. So they always have it. You can nebulize it too. Let's say if there's respiratory infections, maybe you have pneumonia, something like that, or just any type of respiratory infection. This stuff, we've seen people just getting yanked out of hospitals within days, within 3 to 5 days. They're going downhill and they get on either nebulized or just drinking it. Old guy said, he slipped his granddaughter a Mickey. So he put a little bit of it in her orange juice and started giving it to her because he couldn't do it, and within 3 days she was better and she was out of the hospital. So we're talking about very powerful stuff here. We have it in a solution to drink and to use for topically and to mix into things to keep, you can put the silver on a gallon of milk and put it on your countertop. It'll stay fresh for a week outside. No refrigeration. Unbelievable.
That's
Right.
incredible.
The gel, I can't even tell you. I used it to get my cat's eye infection gone because good luck trying to give a cat an eye wash, but I can smash some gel in his eye. We have, tons of stories. People are
Listen,
using the,
we didn't even use the gel. We just used this solution topically on Montana because that's all we had with us on a dog. It worked out just perfectly.
yeah.
Christine and I drink it every day, a couple times a day. We, just walking by, just a little sip. It's part of our daily protocol ever since you sent us your incredible selection of supplements. So,
Yeah.
Tim, where can people order this nano silver, the triple action, and where can they find out more about the chemical free body brand and all the beautiful products that you guys have?
Well, they just go to chemicalfreebody.com/inspired. And by doing that, you guys can get a discount on your stuff. We have a lot of savings bundles that are already discounted. So if you go through the Inspired channel, you get a double discount. And we have a double your money back guarantee on all of our products. I stand behind them 100%. I use them. Like you said, I mean, kind of a perfectionist on this stuff. And I'll tell you right now, if I find something better, I will eat it in the shorts on my products and I will retool and we will do something different. And then I'll tell you about that one. I'm on a constant mission to improve, 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 improve because I want to live the longest, healthiest life I possibly can. Because I was overweight, I was bleeding rectally, my elbows were bleeding with X. I mean, my life was I was in 24/7 pain, bleeding all over the sheets, bleeding all over my clothes, and I don't ever want to go back. So I'm going to do the utmost I can to be as healthy as I can and find the things that I can that'll work, that'll actually work and produce results that don't harm the environment and you know, and actually just they just work. I mean, that's what it really boils down to. So that's where they find us, chemicalfreebody.com/inspired. And maybe next week, we can come on and we'll talk about oral microbiome and we can talk about the benefits of that because we just launched our silver toothpaste and our silver mouth rinse that you can actually swallow.
And here's exactly, Tim. And here's the thing. Thank you for saying this. What we're aiming to do, and not just as individuals, but as a community, right? That is has a different level of consciousness, is to move away from all the toxic bullshit products that are sold in the big box stores that simply poison us slowly but surely over time and kill us slowly but surely, and move to the highest vibrating, cleanest, most amazing products. And that's why we partnered with Chemical Free Body and Tim James, because that's what he does 24/7. You can see all his podcasts on a website, a ton of information for you, his incredible products. There is an inspired bundle on there that Christine and I are taking these products every day. Our family is. And of course, you'll find the Nano Silva to Triple Action, which we're so thankful for, that it really helped our girl, Montana, our German Shepherd, but we're taking it every day. So, Inspired Tribe, I encourage you to go check it out. And Tim James, thank you for this health tip of the week. We're going to have you back very soon. I really appreciate everything you're doing, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thanks for having me on. It was a pleasure.
Always. An Inspired Tribe, thank you so much for tuning in. You know, we love you, we appreciate you, and we will be back with you again very, very soon.